Hey everybody, Morgana Galaxia here. Welcome to my channel. I am back on today because you know what tomorrow is, right? Tomorrow is the day when all Trumpsters and those creepy QAnon people think that Trump is going to come back into Washington, D.C. and be, the 19th valid president of the United States. So in case you haven't heard this kooky conspiracy theory, and I don't have down all the deets exactly, but essentially, when the government decided, made an amendment and changed, was it Inauguration Day from March to January, which happened a long time ago. I don't know, 1800s, early, I don't remember exactly when that happened. It was a long time ago, okay? There was an amendment. The Inauguration Day used to be in March 4th, apparently, and so they made it January 20th, where it is now. So these conspiracy people seem to think that every president that we've had since then has been an invalid president. And so on March 4th, which is the true and honest Inauguration Day, Trump is just going to march back into town and somehow miraculously be president again. I mean, it's completely nonsensical and illogical. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, number one, if every president since that date change has been an invalid president, that would include Trump. Okay? That would include Trump. That means his presidency is invalid, as well as Reagan and both the Bushes. Every Republican president since then. They're saying they're all invalid. That includes Trump, people. There's just like no logic to this, okay? And two, even if he did want to walk in town, what's he going to knock on the door of the White House and Biden's going to be like, oh yeah, it's March 4th. Let me go back to Delaware. You can be president now. What does he think is going to happen? What do these people think is going to happen? However, apparently the news is that they want to blow up the Capitol, and apparently, some miracle and they actually succeeded in blowing up the Capitol somehow, that would make Trump president. Okay, there is nothing about this that makes sense. Nothing. It's completely wackadoodle. However, the FBI are saying the threat level is there, okay? It's all on social media. These people are making plans. They're, that's what they want to do. They want to get together. They want to blow up the Capitol. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to take a read on this, really because I just want to know, if there's going to be any violence tomorrow. Obviously, there's no way that Trump is just going to walk into town and be president. Clearly. But these people are planning something, all right? And we saw that they're capable of it. January 6th showed the entire world that they're capable and desirous of blowing up the Capitol. So I just want to take a look. Is there going to be any violence tomorrow? So from what I understand, there's already over 300 of these militia types and these white supremacists, over 300 of them who've been arrested. Got to imagine that's a big chunk of the people who would be planning an event like this. But God, there were a lot of people on January 6th. So FBI says they're talking about it. They're planning it. Is there going to be any kind of violence tomorrow, March 4th? Show me the Capitol. Is there going to be any kind of violence tomorrow? No. Sorry, it's my cat. Any kind of violence. Okay, let's take a look. The Capitol tomorrow. All right. So here we're starting off with the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups. So, this is the wish fulfillment card, but really a lot of times with this card, I get that these are the sitting this is the sitting members of the Supreme Court or the sitting members of Congress. I just see a lot of, this is politicians in their seats, the board, the council, the panel, right? The people in their seats. So they're there. They're not going to vacate. Everyone's going to be there doing their job, sitting in their seats in their fancy room, going about their business, very smugly and very wealthily going about their business. The challenge here is the Eight of Swords. So the challenge is there's some kind of restriction. There's some sort of restraint. Someone's actions are constricting their own self. So it's something's being tied up, being stopped, being blocked, okay? So that's a challenge. So this question, is there going to be violence tomorrow? So, my first thought here is, I'm going to bring this up. So there's been a lot of protections added to the Capitol area. There's been a lot of protections added to the White House. There's an increase in law enforcement that's there. And I just think that there's a protective boundaries in place that are going to confine people, constrict people. They're going to be unable to move. So I don't think, unlike the last time, they're just going to be able to walk on in, right? They're just walking on up to the Capitol, walking on up to the steps, walking in through the door. That's not going to happen again. There's too many barriers in place, both physical and people. And it's just not, and I have a feeling too that they're going to be arresting people, all right? If you start pushing, they're taking you out. Unlike the last time on January 6th. I watched that thing live on TV. And as it was going on, me and my husband were like, where are the cops? Where is everybody? We saw them walking right through the front doors of the Capitol, through the lobby, and there wasn't a soul in there to stop them. That's not going to happen tomorrow. They're going to be prepared. All right. So what are they going to come face to face with? Here we have the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so the Three of Pentacles are people working together to create something. So, skilled people. There's a contract made. Things, people have jobs to do. You're all supporting each other. You're all giving your expertise to sort of build something great. So, and I'm trying to wonder though, who's building this? Is it these white supremacist groups, or are we talking the FBI and law enforcement here? But considering that this points to a level of skill, a level of expertise and cohesiveness, and something that you're building really that, protects everybody, that houses everybody. And I've had this card before for the FBI, in fact, just the other day. So that's where I'm going here. The FBI, law enforcement, they're already working together. They're in partnership together. They've built a protection, okay? A protection around everyone. So again, I think this is reinforcing this sort of idea of barriers and fencing and personnel that are going to be there. So what's foundational to this question? We have here the Empress. And the Empress is about abundance and goodwill, feminine energy here. So foundationally, there's feminine energy, and foundationally, there's abundance. There's nothing violent or negative about this card. On the other, it's completely different. It's very peaceful. It's creative. It's life generating. So there's nothing here that's supporting any kind of violence. In the past, we have the Five of Cups. So this is loss. And I almost feel like this is this is January 6th, right? This was a loss for them. And that's what they're focusing on. Now, so not a complete loss. They got in, they did some damage, they scared some people, they created this unified effort to prevent this from ever happening again. But a lot of people were arrested, right? People lost their lives. These groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers or whatever, their leaders are getting arrested. There's like 300 people in jail. They're getting their charges. They suffered a loss. They were unsuccessful in what they did. Not completely unsuccessful, but they were unsuccessful. And that's the energy that they're bringing forward in this reading. Where they're going with the Queen of Cups, where the energy they're moving into with this Queen of Cups is just a high state of emotion. This is a very emotional card, but the Queen, she's the Queen because she is emotionally intelligent. She understands her emotions. She is in control of her emotions. So I think what this is sort of pointing to is that they're going to have to sort of control themselves. They're going to have to confine their emotions. That they're not going to be able to just go crazy and cause destruction and cause violence. They're going to have to maintain themselves. So what I'm getting overall for this question, will there be violence tomorrow? I'm going to say no, there will not be. All the legislators, they're all there doing their work. However, law enforcement have been working together to create barriers, physical barriers that people can't get through. Law enforcement is heightened. They're going to be stepping up arrests, all right? They're not just going to be letting people walk away. They're going to be arresting people. Anybody who tries anything is going to be confined, all right? Is going to be captured, handcuffed, carded, even if it's just overnight. I'm not saying every single person might be charged, but they're going to quash this. Anybody who even shows up to try anything will find in very short order they're not going to get very far. They're not going to get on the grounds. They're not going to get in any buildings. There's just, they're going to be stopped. They're going to be stymied. And they're going to be frustrated. They're going to be feeling a high level of emotion. But they're not going to be able to do anything with it. And thus, they'll be forced to contain it, to control it, and live with it, frankly, because they're not going to be able to use it to blow anything up. I don't see anything here showing explosives or fighting or violence. The only sword card I'm getting here is this. They're being stopped, handcuffed, tied up, put behind bars, all right? So because this is here, this tells me, okay, maybe some people might show up. I'm not saying not a soul isn't even going to show up. Yeah, some people might show up and, try and do a little rabble-rousing, rah, 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 rah. But they're not going to get anywhere. They're not going to get anywhere with this. It's just a losing game, all right? So that's just kind of where I'm going with this thing tomorrow. And I got a little time. Let's just take a look. So I think this conspiracy with this whole March 4th thing is like a QAnon kind of wackadoodle idea. And maybe you guys know that Q hasn't dropped any posts since December. And, I'm wondering how it's going. How are these people, how are they feeling? How are they doing? Are they starting to lose interest? Starting to kind of realize now that it's, before when QAnon was all secret, right? And it was just in these, on social media, it was just these small closed groups, right? They were in their own little echo chamber, in their own little boxes with people who believed what they did and agreed with them, and all these little cute people conspiring and all their ideas, right? But now that it's out there in the public domain and everybody knows what it is, and everybody's talking about it on TV, and everybody's calling it crazy and wackadoodle, and oh my God, these people are losing their minds and they're absolutely crazy. And I'm wondering if, that's starting to get to some people. Like, oh, maybe that is kind of crazy. Maybe that is ridiculous. So I guess I want to know how the Q movement is faring these days between no Q drops and, the public discussion around their conspiracies, just the outing of them and everything they believe, right? It's all out now. It's all out. Sun's shining on it. How is that affecting them? How is that affecting them? I'm just going to do a quick read on that. All right, let's bring it down. All right, how is that affecting the Q movement? Okay, so we're starting right out here with the Page of Swords. So this often can be like a whistleblower, a traitor in your midst, basically some low-level legal issues, lawsuits, things of that nature. So kind of the feeling I'm getting with this, though, is this, to me, it's this almost like this is the call to January 6th, okay? So all this kind of Q stuff's been going on for a while, but it really culminated in this call to bear arms. And with this page, that's telling us this was an immature effort. These are not adults. They're not clear-thinking, mature, responsible human beings. They're childish thinking, childish actions. They're playing a game here. And I'm also getting this feeling of like LARP, okay? That live action role playing. Probably a lot of you know what that is. It's when people dress up in costumes and go out there and reenact stuff for fun. It's like people who, like those Civil War buffs who dress up in their Civil War regalia and they go out on the battlefield and do their mock battles. That's live action role playing. And there's a lot of people who say this is what the Q movement really started out as, was some kind of a LARP action. But it, the more people that found out about it didn't maybe realize that, they kind of got sucked in. Immature thinking, immature minds, immature emotions, just, there's no sophistication there. And it called them to arms. And here they are playing. They're playing at, just like all those militia groups, right, that showed up on the 6th. They're playing at being soldiers, playing at being mercenaries. Some of them had some training, but they're not in the military, right? They're not actually soldiers. They're play acting. They're wannabes, okay? These are wannabes. Wannabes. What's challenging them with the 9 of Wands? What's challenging them is one, they blew the January 6th riot, all right? They failed in their insurrection attempt, and as a result of that, they're injured. They've been damaged, they're embattled, and, they're looking at barriers being erected around them to keep them isolated. And that's, just like the reading I did on what's going to happen tomorrow at the Capitol. They're going to be blocked. They're going to be penned in. They're not going to be able to move and continue doing whatever work that they still have unfinished. They're just, and they're tired. They're tired. Don't want to get injured any further. They don't want to get killed. They might believe all this because, it's a good time for them, but do they really want to lose their life? Do they really want to end up in prison? Probably not. So this is challenging this movement. Repercussions, consequences, being found out, losing your job, right? All your friends and family finding out that you were at the riot or you believe all this craziness. These people are losing their livelihood, losing their families, and they're being damaged because of that. And that is really gonna challenge the movement in general. All right, so what are they coming face to face with? We have the Five of Wands. And this is internal fighting, internal strife. People within the movement fighting and turning on each other. So, I can't say that I've read or heard about that, but this is telling us that they're facing a lot of internal dynamics, a lot of internal fighting, a lot of power playing, disagreements, internal strife. And that is going to make them disorganized and vulnerable because they're not going to be cohesive, because there's just too much infighting between all the different groups and all the different things they think and all the different ways they want to act, and they just can't get it together, okay? Foundationally to this question of, how's this Q movement faring? We have the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is all about, it's a new beginning. All these aces are new beginnings, but it's just an overwhelming amount of emotion. So, that really is kind of what Q is all about. All these kooky conspiracy theories and everything they believe in are designed to really rile up their emotions, right? These people who think that pedophiles are stealing and eating children, that, vaccinations are a plan to kill off humanity, whatever fear-based, hate-based thing that they believe in, it is absolutely designed to zero right in on their emotional body, on their fears, on their insecurities, and rile up that hate, rile up that anger. It's a complete overflow of emotion. That is the very foundation of what allows this Q movement to survive and to spread. But foundationally here, they're looking at some sort of new beginning. So at the very least, this is telling us that in that regard, all the emotional elements of this movement, that's going to start shifting. It's going to start changing. People's feelings are going to start changing. There's still going to be a lot of emotion there, an overwhelming amount of emotion, but something new is beginning. Now, whether that means people are turning away from Q, or maybe more people are going to be attracted to Q, I don't know. All I know is that there's an overflow of emotion that is the foundation of the Q movement moving forward. And it's probably going to be some combination of both, obviously, because people are diverse and there's always somebody doing something, right? But again, the focus is on the emotion that is designed to generate fear, hatred, protect, like these people who showed up on the 6th. They're trying to save America. They think they're patriots. It's all emotion-based. It's volatile, and it's very dangerous because we're emotional animals, far more so than logical ones. All right. In the past, the energy that just came through that's moving forward is the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is the energy. So I guess, you know, the Knight of Cups is kind of that knight who comes to the rescue, often with healing, with love, you know, that knight on the shining armor kind of thing. But the sense that I'm getting here, if you look at this river, I'm getting a sense like they couldn't make it across the river. They were stopped. So this Q movement, and they felt that this was them. They're the knight on the shining horse. They're coming to the rescue. They're trying to save America. They're trying to save everybody from these satanic pedophile rings or whatever else that they believe in, right? They see themselves as the patriots, as the heroes. And they couldn't quite make it. They couldn't quite cross the river. They couldn't get to the other side. They've been stopped, right? They've been stopped. They're still there. They might be biding their time or trying to figure out their next move, but for the time being, they're halted. The energy that this movement is moving into, we have the moon. And just, you know, what I'm feeling with this, if this is where they're going, this is telling me that they're going to continue being deluded, continue lying to themselves, continue not seeing reality clearly. And I feel like they're going to go underground, all right? They're going to go back, slink back into the darkness, back into the shadows, back, you know, on the underground net, back into all those dark websites. They're going to try and slither back out from under the shining light of awareness, of being exposed. They're going to try and undo that. They want to go underground again. They don't want that light shining on them. They don't want the exposure. They don't want everybody to be talking about them all the time. They want to take their little lies and take their little conspiracies and take their little falsehoods and burrow back down the rabbit hole. So they're hidden, they're secret. And, you know, yeah, that's what it is. So this is telling me that it's not going to disappear. This movement's not going to disappear. They're not going to stop. You know, it's not, law enforcement's not going to be able to quash this. At best, they might shrink it some, but these people are just going to go underground again. They're going to go underground and just keep on keeping on. Keep on doing their thing. Keep on reading about shape-shifting reptilians and keep on reading about, you know, mass murder events, you know, trying to kill humanity. They're just going to keep reading about how these politicians are all dead and have been replaced with clones, right? All this kind of stuff. Those beliefs don't survive the light of the sun. So the only way that they can keep on keeping on is to slink back into darkness. And that's what they're going to do, y'all. So thank you again for joining me. And I'll be back with you in a couple days. Remember to like or subscribe and check out my other videos. And past that, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful next few days. All right? Take care. Bye.